Okay, so it seems like Genshin Impact is in a little bit of trouble at the moment with the US Federal Trade Commission, which is absolutely crazy. I think this is something that's been going on for a little bit of a while behind the scenes, but we finally got an article that actually came out from Bloomberg talking about this, and it's talking about some kind of loot box kind of thing that is going on in Genshin Impact, and that, you know, they're settling a kind of thing of Hoyoverse of concerns that the money-making mechanisms of Genshin Impact were deceptive. Now, obviously, we all know every single gacha game usually is deceptive in some kind of way. Now, obviously, maybe there are some that you might say, oh, but they're a little bit of an exception, but most gacha games, usually they do have some kind of predatory nature to get people to spend more, and it seems like the US Federal Trade Commission is actually going up against Hoyoverse in terms of Genshin Impact. Now, it's kind of interesting they haven't included Honkai Star or Sanderson Zero in this article, but let's get into this article and see what it's all about. So they say FTC nears settlement over loot boxes in Genshin Impact. They say some Genshin Impact players may be reimbursed through Accord, meaning that we could get some of our money back for spending some money on Genshin Impact if you guys did do that, and also the agency probing whether players were deceived in spending cash. Now, yeah, this has happened before, for example, with like Fortnite, if you've seen that a while ago. They pretty much had this whole thing of like, they settled a whole like lawsuit thing saying that Fortnite was pretty much targeting kids and making them spend money on the game, and then they had to give back a lot of money to these players, and this could be the same thing with Genshin Impact here. So let's go and read through it. They say the US Federal Trade Commission is preparing to settle with the company behind the popular video game Genshin Impact over concerns that the money-making mechanisms of the game were deceptive, according to people with knowledge of the matter. So maybe they'll go into it in a little bit what exactly was kind of deceptive. I feel like what is going to be the main case is from a while ago. If you guys saw the Tectone clip of him pulling a lot of, I forgot what they were, wolf's gravestones on the Hu Tao banner. It was like the staff of homeless. That's what they called it, because literally he spent so much money on it because there was no 50-50 system. They added the 50-50 system later on, which obviously is way less predatory than now. But before it was bad, and maybe that is what they're referring to in this whole article thing. Now we keep going and say some players who paid for the chance to win digital items in-game could not be reimbursed as a part of the deal, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing a confidential matter. Details of the agreement, which could be announced as soon as this week, weren't immediately available. So we haven't seen exactly what the outcome of this whole thing is yet. But they say FTC consumer protection officials have been investigating Genshin Impact and its publisher, Singapore-based Hoyoverse, since at least last summer. According to another person, the case will be among the final acts of the agency under its current chair, Lena Khan, a Biden appointee. So obviously that's something to do with the US government, stuff like that. And they say Genshin Impact, played by millions, was developed by Chinese developer MiHoYo, which is a part of Hoyoverse. The FTC investigation is centered in part on whether the process for obtaining rarer 5-star characters is misleading because the value of the virtual currencies in the game is difficult to discern. Okay, so that is the main reason. They feel like, because obviously this happens in a lot of other gacha games too, so I wonder if they're going to go in on those ones as well. For example, Wuthering Waves or something similar, where pretty much you pay for a currency, and then you pay that currency to pay for the Primo Gems, which obviously can make it a little bit hard for some people to understand how much they're actually spending, which I can kind of see. You know, I feel like, you know, it is a little bit of a predatory way to get people to spend more, but at the same time, it is a gacha game. Now, I don't really know if that, you know, it doesn't really make up for the fact that it is predatory, but I think we've known this for quite a while and that this is a pretty bad practice, but it seems like the US government, or, you know, the US Commission, are actually kind of taking action against this. Now, obviously, they keep saying that an FTC spokesperson declined to comment. A spokesperson for Cognisphere, the distributor of Genshin Impact, declined to comment. So they both declined to comment, which is crazy. They say the agency has broadly been looking into video games and the use of so-called loot boxes since 2019. When it held a workshop on the issue, players used real money to purchase the chance to obtain a digital item. Now, obviously, I feel like this article is a little bit out of touch of like what gacha games actually are. You aren't paying for a loot box, although it might be a kind of loot box similar system. You're paying for a pull to get a character. I feel like you're not paying a random loot box, although I can see where the similarities do kind of lie there. Now, they say, released in 2020, Genshin Impact is a role-playing game involving collectible characters with unique fighting skills. It was one of the first Chinese video games to go viral in the US. They say, in Genshin Impact, players purchased the chances to win particular characters and items. Yep, true. They say the game has brought in more than 6 billion in revenue, which is absolutely crazy. I think it's even more. I think it was 10 billion. On mobile devices, according to data from AppMagic, and is also available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So yeah, they just kind of give you a little bit of background. The monetization strategy has stirred controversy among some gamers. The chance-based system called gacha is often compared to gambling. While it is common in China and Japan and South Korea, Genshin Impact was one of the first popular gacha games outside of Asia. Still, money-making strategies involve gamers paying for the chance to earn digital goods are widespread and employed in Electronic Arts soccer titles and Valve Counter-Strike. So again, it's a very common thing across games to pay for things, and I feel like it's a little bit disingenuous to say that, you know, it's like the only way that people can get characters is by paying. You don't have to pay if you don't want to. That's why there's free-to-play players. But yeah, it is very predatory still if you do pay. Now they say critics have said that Genshin Impact's chance-based mechanisms are more complicated than traditional loot boxes. For example, Genshin Impact players can spend real money on a virtual currency and exchange it for that another currency and another, and then wish for the way that they want. More powerful characters are often more rare. Users can also obtain these characters for free by playing frequently and earning the virtual currency and then wishing. Various other governments, including the UK and China, have probed the use of chance-based mechanisms in video games. Chinese regulators have long required game makers to disclose the odds of returning and earning certain items. For example, the UK formed a committee to research potential harms associated with loot boxes. So that is the full article. Obviously, it's a known thing that's been happening for a very, very long time, because obviously gacha games are very predatory. They do kind of have this chance-based system where you don't know what you're going to get. But it seems like these countries are starting to get a little bit fed up of it. As I said, China has already taken a lot of measures, and also a lot of other countries as well have taken measures to kind of improve it. Obviously now with Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and all these other games, you know, you can actually see the chance of you getting a character. I think it's like 0.00003 or something like that if you get it like early. And then obviously there is like other systems as well to kind of help you guarantee to get a character, which I feel like makes it less bad. Obviously it's not the best system and it could be improved, but again, it's just how gacha games are designed. And you know, if you're playing a gacha game and are surprised by this kind of predatory kind of monetary scheme, then I don't even know why you're playing in the first place. But with games like Genshin Impact, I can see why they are a little bit more concerned, just because it has become so big that many players outside of the kind of gacha community are obviously playing this game and being affected by these strategies. But at the same time, I don't think it's the biggest of deals. Obviously, I feel like there's just going to be some kind of settlement over it, and they're going to keep doing what they're doing. Maybe it will require Genshin Impact and some other gacha games to implement some more kind of features into it. As I said, like we've had the 50-50 system and stuff like that added in, which pretty much gives users a guaranteed chance. Because let's be real, in Genshin Impact, if you spend around like $300 or something like that, then you're guaranteed to get a character every single time. But, you know, it's just a very, very high status. So maybe that's what makes it, like, fine for them. Because obviously, it's not like they're saying, we're going to ban Genshin Impact forever. Obviously, no. Like, that's not the thing. They're just, like, wanting people to get their money back on some things. So I feel like that's why Genshin Impact and some of these other games are still up and running. Is because of the fact that they have 50-50 systems. They show you the drop rates. They show you everything like that. So there is some systems in place to make sure that, you know, there is some kind of boundaries. But still, it is still pretty bad. Like, I'm not saying that $300 is just like nothing, you know, or people could just spend $300 every single day on a character. It's totally fine. No, of course not. But, you know, I'm just saying there is a cap to it, which I think is actually pretty good. But again, honestly, this was kind of surprising. I didn't really expect to be making another video today. Honestly, if you saw my video earlier about Wuthering Waves, you know, that was going to be my one video on this channel. But this article came out literally this morning, and I just realized, oh, wait. We need to cover this. This is some pretty big news. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that, you know, the FTC needs to take any action against Genshin Impact and even some other gacha games as well, including, you know, Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star, Wuthering Waves, whatever other one, Nikkei, Girls 1 and 2, whatever game is going on at the moment? Because honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, you know, we'll have to wait and see what the verdict is in like a week's time. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Go over to Game Subs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.